They called this meeting with all the company. And again, if you're an insider, you know, when the producers call a meeting for the whole company, it's never a good sign. So I came into that meeting with the sort of worst expectations. And they told us, to my surprise, we are not closing this show. We know what the numbers look like, but we believe in the work that's being done. We believe that ticket sales will increase now that we can advertise elsewhere. We're putting a little bit more money in to accomplish that. And we believe that it will pick up when Broadway Bound opens, which you know, we are so committed to. We will at least get to the opening of Broadway Bound, and then we'll reassess. And so in the meantime, keep doing what you're doing, and put this out of your minds, because we don't want it to affect the work that's being done. And I took that to heart, and I said, okay, these guys know what they're doing. I will trust this. And so for 3 days we went in. It was a Wednesday that we had the meeting, so for that day, Thursday and Friday, we kept rehearsing the show. We were 1 day away from going into tech rehearsal, so the next Monday when we had rehearsal was our first tech rehearsal for Broadway Bound, which is the last leg of the rehearsal process, for anybody who doesn't know. And that Friday night, I got home. It was the day before Halloween, and I remember this because I got this big pumpkin, and my wife at the time, that's a whole other cabaret. But it explains why the ring is migrated to that finger. My wife at the time, we were carving this pumpkin. I get this call at 7:40. I remember it because it was after half hour for the cast of Brighton Beach, which I wasn't in. I was only in the second play. And it was Santino Fontana, who was playing my brother in the second play. And I was like, this is weird. Why is he calling me after half hour? And I pick up the phone, and the first thing he says is, I am so sorry. And I said, sorry for what? What happened? He said, you don't know? And I said, no. What are you talking about? What's that? And he said, oh, no, I don't want to be the one to tell you this. I can't be the one to tell you this. And I was like, Santino, you don't have a choice. Now we're in this. We're here. What's going on? And he said, we're closing. I said, what do you mean? They said that they said that was not happening. What are you talking about? He's like, we came into the theater, the notices were on our dressing room tables. And I said, when? How much time do we have? He said 2 days. We have 2 days, we're closing in 2 days. And it was just all of it trying to compute. I was like, but if we close in 2 days, then we're 2 weeks away from my show. How? But what happens to Broadway Bound? It's not happening. The show will not happen. And because I had tied maybe so much of this destiny stuff into it, so much of this pattern of events leading up to this, that moment sort of just crossed wires in my brain, and destiny somehow suddenly didn't make sense. The last 2 years of my life, the work I've been doing didn't really make sense. The momentum I had been building just kind of got slammed into a wall, and it all kind of, I felt the energy of all of that in this one moment. And I remember just keeping him on the phone for no reason. I was just like, I know you gotta go, I know you're doing it. Just don't hang up. I don't need you to say anything. I just need you to be on this phone with me for another minute. And he did. And at some point, I finally let him go. And my wife could not totally hear that conversation because she was inside and I was out on this patio. And as soon as I hung up the phone, I just walked in, and I could see on her face she knew what was happening. But it was the first time I'd seen it in movies and things, and I was like, oh, I guess maybe somebody in the world does this, but it never happened to me, where you just drop. You just drop to your knees and weep. It never happened, but it happened that night. And this song that I'm going to sing is one that you're all very familiar with, so I just apologize in advance and ask you to let me indulge in this. And it's a song, to me, that is about my relationship to the theater itself. Isn't it rich? Are we a pair? Me here at last on the ground, you in mid-air. Send in the clowns. Isn't it bliss? Don't you approve? One who keeps tearing around, one who can't move. Where are the clowns? Send in the clowns. Just when I stopped opening doors, finally finding the one that I wanted was yours. Making my entrance again with my usual flair, sure of my lines. Nobody's there. Don't you love a farce? My fault, I fear. I thought that you'd want what I want. Sorry, my dear. Where are the clowns? Send in the clowns. Don't bother, I'm here. Isn't it rich? Isn't it queer? Losing my timing this soon in my career. Where are the clowns? There ought to be clowns. Well, maybe next year.